What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics here today with an absolutely wild one. Courtesy of Bowman1951 on Twitter. Fellow YouTube content creator, though he hasn't put up a video in quite some time. He runs the best flipping show in the Boston, Massachusetts area. Never had a chance to actually meet him in person, but we've chatted quite a bit over, not quite a bit, but we've chatted over the years on numerous different occasions. Seems like a pretty good dude. He tweeted this out late last week, and I missed it till over the weekend. This is the ultimate "what would you do" situation, and I have a feeling the comment section will be a interesting adventure on this one. So, what happened? His wife saw this post on Facebook in a yard sellers group or garage selling group. What happened was and I don't know, I shouldn't say young lady because I honestly don't know. A lady sold her father's Pokemon collector's items, not knowing what they were. The items in question were 3 sealed booster boxes of Team Rocket First Edition. Now, I'm not a big Pokemon guy. I dabble here and there in sealed wax. I would not have known how much these were valued, but I would have known that this was a pretty big deal, but I wouldn't know the price off the top of my head. She sold these for $30 to 2 different guys, or to, I don't know if it was 2 guys separately or 2 guys together, but regardless, these got sold for $30. They go for $10K plus. She quoted $20,000 here. One of them, I believe, and I don't know 100% for sure, I'm assuming this might be one of the boxes, because these do not come up very often, is up for auction with 1 day and 9 hours on it. It ends Monday evening. It is currently at over 10K, almost 10.4K. So, she sells these not knowing what she had, obviously. We don't know the details of how she got them, why she sold them. We just know that they were her father's. She says her father was sick, and I am beside myself. So, Bowman sees this through various mystical means. He finds out that the people that bought them walked them into a local shop and sold them to the local shop. These aren't something that show up very often, so the word gets out when these transact. So they got sold to a local shop. Bowman messages the lady and say, hey, this shop has them. The lady contacts the shop. He apparently still has one of them. So 2 of the 3 are now MIA. I'm assuming one is the one on auction through consignment. I'm assuming another one may have gotten moved locally. I don't know. And then in theory, they still have the 3rd one. She reaches out to the shop to try to buy it back. The shop essentially tells her, go jump in a lake, best I could tell. Now, there's a lot of unknowns here. We don't know, what did she offer to try it back from the shop? Was she willing to buy it at market value? Was she just looking to get it for whatever the shop bought it for? There's a lot of questions here we don't know. But I guess the general thing here is, what would you do? I guess the first one is, if you walked into a yard sale and you saw something like this priced at $30, and you know that is worth way more than $30. And we're not talking about, like, you know, you go to the yard sale, like you see Gary Vee do this all the time in his yard selling videos, and you see other videos on YouTube about this, where someone buys some junk knickknack for $1 and then sells it on eBay for $50. Okay, sure, cool, you got them, great. But in this case, you walk in and you see something, let's assume they were priced $10 a piece, and in the back of your mind, you know that's at least a $10,000 box of cards. Are you saying anything? Or are you running? Grabbing them up, saying, here, $30. See ya. Pleasure doing business with you. Peace. That's really the first moral quandary here that we get into, I guess. Now, she put them out. She priced them. Ultimately, this is on the seller. You have to know what you are selling. You put something out at a price, someone walks up and buys it, that is ultimately on you. And in life, there are consequences. Now, I am sure some people would walk up and say, hey, you might want to take a little peek at this. Most people, I would have to imagine, would fork over the $30 and run as fast as possible to the car and do cartwheels on the way back to the vehicle. That's just my guess, just knowing the human condition. There's a weird middle ground where maybe you buy one or buy two of them or something like that, and then like tell her, hey, you should not have this out at that price, and then just run as fast as you possibly can. And ultimately, I don't know that there is a right or wrong answer here. You could really spin this one kind of any way that you want. My take is that ultimately this falls back to the seller. It is your responsibility to know, especially if you are selling things that clearly are not yours. And once again, we don't know the background situation here. Did the dad tell her, hey, clean out that loft up there and sell whatever it is that you find? You know, we don't know the details on that sort of stuff. So that's kind of the first quandary here, is what would you do if presented with this situation? Like I said, my gut is most people would buy and run. What would I do? I would probably buy them. I would probably buy all three of them. Maybe I would try to do the split the difference thing and buy like two of them, and then, you know, tell them, hey, you know, run those ones to the car, move the car around the block, come back and be like, you might want to double check what you got there. But like I said, to me, ultimately, it does come down to the seller and pricing the items correctly and knowing what you have before you sell it. I know personally, I have had discussions with my wife where I said, hey, if anything, and in this case, the father was still alive, but if anything ever happens to me, before you sell anything, talk to somebody. Talk to one of our friends, talk to someone you know in the space. She could reach out to Flipping Steve, Dustin, any of my other friends locally. I told her, explained to her how to look things up on eBay sold listings. We have absolutely had that conversation where something happens to me, double check everything before you just randomly throw it out for a garage sale table. Just take a peek. And I actually told, because we don't have kids, but my wife has a niece, and anything would probably go to her if something happened to the both of us. And I have jokingly told her in the past, hey, Sid, if something happens to us, just don't sell stuff at a garage sale. We got good stuff. Don't just throw it out on a $5 table. So you personally, have you had any conversations like that with a significant other or someone that, like, it's kind of morbid, but like, hey, if something happens to me, you know, this box of stuff over here, or the stuff on this wall, or the stuff in this case or whatever is not just to be thrown in a $1 bin at a yard sale. It's weird to talk about out loud, but it's probably a conversation that you might want to have, or put something in writing somewhere so someone knows exactly what it is that you're sitting on, whether you're married, significant other, whatever, parents, brothers, sisters, just someone is in the loop on whatever it is that you got. Even if you don't want to get in the specifics, just a general like, hey, this is what's going on. So if nothing else, I guess take that as a lesson from this. And then the part 2 of this is the shop. Now, they're in an even more weird situation because they bought this off someone else. We don't know what they paid for it. Bowman speculated it on one of the tweets, but we really don't know what they paid for the 3 of them. Probably, you know, a few $1,000, $5,000 a box. I don't really know. They've apparently already sold one. Another one is on consignment, and then they have a third one. I don't know the shop. I don't know the guy that owns the shop. He could be a really good guy. He could be an asshole for all I know. I really don't know. We also don't know how the lady contacted her. Did she reach out and said, hey, I messed up. My dad just wants this back in his collection. We will buy it back at fair market value. Or if she was like, hey, we'll buy it back from you for whatever you paid. Because if you paid like $3,000 for it and they're selling for $10,000 plus, that's not on the shop. It's not really the shop's fault that she sold these in the first place. And, you know, I don't know. I'm sure someone down below in a comment section that has some sort of legal mind is probably quoting some statute thing where, you know, is this considered theft or not, and all that mumbo jumbo. I really don't know. I honestly don't know. If you know specifically, feel free to fire it away. But I don't know that it could be, because these were bought at a yard sale. She admits on Facebook that she sold them at a yard sale. So it would be really hard to walk that back. So it's not like they were stolen. Now, could the father say the daughter stole them from me and sold them? Maybe, but that opens up a whole bunch of weirdness. So I don't really know what responsibility the shop has here, other than maybe saying, the one thing that I think they could do is, hey, I have one left. I will sell it back to you at fair market value, whatever that is. I mean, we're about to find out Monday night what fair market value is for this thing. You know, whether that's, hey, I'll sell it back to you for, let's assume this ends right now at 10.5K after eBay fees and everything. I'll sell this back to you for $7,500, $8,000, whatever the case might be, $9,000. If you want it for that, cool. If not, go jump in a lake. I don't really know. And like I said, the shop seems almost kind of caught in the crosshairs here. Good, bad, or indifferent. A lot of details that we don't know on this. So I don't want to get too much into the weeds on the, who has what, where, who knew what, when, and where. But just the more general concept of, you walk into a yard sale, a flea market, whatever, and you find something like this. What is your initial reaction? Are you forking the money over as soon as possible? Are you pulling the lady aside and say, listen, not my business, but this is what you have here? Or are you trying to split the difference a little bit and say, cool, I'm going to take one of these, but FYI, this is what's going on here. So you're going to pay the penance a little bit, and I'm going to walk out of here with one of these. Here's the $10, and then after that transaction is done, explain what's going on with the other ones. I don't know. I have a feeling I know the way the comment section is going to go on this. Maybe humanity will surprise me. But like I said, it's a tricky situation. Ultimately, the ultimate thing is that it goes back to the seller has to know what they are doing. And I think that's the biggest takeaway here. That a lot of us have very valuable items laying around that to a lot of other people may not seem valuable. A random box of Pokemon cards on the shelf, or a random box of sports cards, or a comic book, or whatever, an action figure, doesn't matter. That sitting around on a shelf, still sealed in the package, to someone that knows nothing about the collectible space, that might not seem like a big deal. Especially, a lot of people keep their collecting on the down low. They don't like to advertise what they have, or they just don't want their general family to know, like, nerd, you spend how much on Pokemon cards or baseball cards or whatever. But like I said, life's a cruel mistress. You never know what could happen. It's not a bad idea to have something somewhere that kind of lays out, open this envelope before you sell anything in my house or my safety deposit box or whatever the case might be. Or does your significant other know if you have a bunch of stuff stored in a PWCC vault somewhere, or an eBay vault, or Golden, or something like that? Do you have plans laid out? Do you have something in a living will? Like, these are all takeaways to think about from this situation that I think we could all probably do a little bit better on. So curious for your thoughts and comments on this one down below. We will catch you boys and girls on the next one. Peace.